The island of Migingo is truly a unique phenomenon in the modern world, remarkably impressive for its compactness and unusual possibilities for coexistence. This tiny patch of land, occupying less than half the size of a standard football field, with a concentration of about 500 people, has become a genuine phenomenon, attracting the attention of researchers, journalists, and curious travelers from all corners of the globe. Located in the heart of Lake Victoria, one of the largest freshwater bodies on Earth, this island has sparked interest for over 30 years with its unusual features and the way it often challenges conventional notions of comfort, order, and social organization. The population density on Migingo reaches an astounding 100,000 people per square kilometer, making it an absolute record holder for this indicator worldwide. For comparison, even in the most densely populated metropolises in the world, this figure rarely exceeds a few thousand people per square mile, whereas here, it is hundreds of thousands. Such a concentration of people in such a limited area turns life in these places into a true test of endurance and adaptability. The dwellings of the local residents are often very cramped structures, assembled from rusty metal, makeshift materials, and even waste. Inside such homes, 7 or even 8 people may simultaneously reside, making personal space practically unattainable and turning everyday life into constant closeness and compression. The residents of Migingo live without the conveniences we consider necessary in most modern societies. There is no plumbing, sewage system, or even basic toilets. The infrastructure is virtually non-existent, and for many, this seems impossible, if not unthinkable. However, despite all these limitations, the local community has managed to build its own social structure that functions and maintains order. The center of public life on the island is a noisy and constantly lively bar. It is not only a place for rest and entertainment, but also a kind of administrative center, where crucial issues are resolved, and residents gather to discuss current problems and plans. This approach clearly shows that for the local people, human interaction and informal connections are more important than formal rules and state institutions. Personal trust and mutual assistance are valued here, rather than bureaucratic rigidity. At the same time, the management system that is developed on Migingo is astonishing in its efficiency. In the absence of official power structures, all important decisions are made at general meetings, where every adult resident has an equal right to vote. This approach allows for quick responses to emerging issues, maintaining order and harmony within the community. For 30 years of living in complete autonomy, there have been virtually no serious crimes here. Only 6 cases of theft have been recorded, and not a single murder. This fact indicates a high level of social cohesion and trust among residents, which is especially remarkable given the dense construction and absence of a formal law enforcement system. Migingo's location near Lake Victoria, the largest in Africa and the second largest freshwater body in the world, adds special significance to its story. This lake covers an area of about 27,000 square miles, and its rich biological resources provide food for millions of people living in 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. These waters are home to many valuable fish species, among which the Nile perch stands out. This fish is renowned for its excellent taste and large size, reaching up to 2 meters in length for the largest specimens, making it a highly valuable commodity on international markets. It is thanks to the wealth of aquatic resources, and especially the Nile perch, whose export annually brings the region over $500 million, that Migingo holds an important place in this business. The contribution of this small island to the regional economy is hard to overestimate, despite its modest size. The history of Migingo's settlement resembles an exciting adventure film script. In the late 1980s, this piece of land was deserted, uninhabited, and surrounded. In the 20th year of the 20th century, specifically in 2004, significant changes occurred on Migingo Island with the introduction of Coast Guard forces belonging to the state of Uganda. This decision led to many new rules and obligations for local residents, among which was the requirement to pay an annual tax of $5 for each fish catch. This measure caused a wave of discontent among the population, which in turn led to new contradictions and conflicts arising against the backdrop of changes in the island's usual way of life. Daily life on Migingo is striking in its uniqueness and originality. All the houses on this tiny island are built from the most available and often the most unexpected materials, demonstrating the creativity and skill of the local residents. Despite the modesty of the structures, the island hosts a range of establishments, including 14 bars, 3 brothels, 2 small barber shops, several grocery shops, and even an improvised casino. In the absence of full infrastructure and usual amenities, residents use water from the lake according to a strictly established schedule, which compensates for the lack of toilets and sanitary facilities. The economic life on Migingo is a unique symbiosis of fishing and small entrepreneurship. Most residents make their living by fishing, with the average income of a fisherman being approximately $300 per week, a substantial amount in a region where incomes are often much lower. Within this small community, there exists a complex and well-organized system of mutual aid and resource distribution that helps people survive and maintain stability. The cultural diversity of this island makes it truly unique. Representatives of 10 different ethnic groups coexist peacefully here, each bringing their own traditions and customs. The main culinary symbol of the local cuisine has become a simple yet hearty meal: fried Nile perch, served with potatoes and local beer, which has become an integral part of the island's daily life and cultural heritage. The religious life on Migingo is represented by 2 main religious centers, 1 church and 1 mosque, which coexist peacefully on this small territory, demonstrating harmony and respect between different faiths. For tourists, there is a strict rule on the island. The duration of their visit must not exceed 24 hours, which helps limit the flow of visitors and preserve the tranquility of the local community. 200 meters from Migingo lies the significantly larger but almost uninhabited island of Migingo, which, according to local beliefs, is inhabited by an evil spirit that deters potential settlers and tourists. This contrast further emphasizes the uniqueness and authenticity of Migingo, making it a truly special place where history and legends intertwine with everyday life. The phenomenon of Migingo continues to attract the attention of researchers and scientists, amazed by the remarkable resilience and vitality of the human community. Despite the absence of state institutions and modern conveniences, this island demonstrates an astonishing internal harmony based on mutual assistance, trust, and cohesion. There are no usual infrastructural benefits here, but there is the energy of life and the desire to survive. The secret of the success of the Migingo residents likely lies in their unique spirit of community and ability to appreciate every moment, every little thing. In conditions of constant resource scarcity, the residents have learned to cherish what they have and find joy in simple things. Perhaps it is in this simplicity, in the ability to live within their means and unite for a common goal, that the main lesson of this remarkable island lies. The ecological situation around Migingo is causing serious concern among environmental specialists and scientists. Over the past 20 years, the volume of Nile perch catch has decreased by almost 40%, due to the overexploitation of fish resources. On the island of Migingo, surrounded by the vast expanse of Victoria, all adult men are united in a special kind of professional union, which plays an important role in the life of the local community. This union is responsible for regulating issues related to the allocation of fishing areas and resolving disputes among fishermen. Thanks to this union, the men on the island strive to maintain order and avoid conflicts over resource division. Meanwhile, the women, numbering about 150, play an important role in the island's social life, but their activities are mainly related to serving the local residents. They work in small bars and eateries, as well as engage in sewing and repairing clothes, which allows them to meet the community's basic needs and maintain its viability. Medical care on Migingo is virtually non-existent, which becomes a serious problem in emergencies. In cases of serious illness or injury, those affected must be transported to the mainland, which takes at least 3 hours. In the past 5 years, 12 deaths have been recorded on the island due to causes that could have been prevented with basic medical assistance. These tragic cases highlight the urgent need for improved healthcare conditions, yet the situation remains unchanged. The prospects for the island's further development raise many questions and remain uncertain. On one hand, the authorities of Kenya and Uganda, the neighboring states to Migingo, are considering projects to build modern housing and infrastructure to provide more comfort and safety for the local residents. On the other hand, environmental organizations insist on the complete resettlement of the island to preserve the unique ecosystem of Lake Victoria, which is threatened by the growing human presence and potential environmental disruptions. As of today, Migingo continues to exist in its unique status as a place where people have learned to survive in the most extreme conditions, adapting to natural and social challenges. The educational system on the island is practically non-existent. Of the total population of about 500 residents, only a small portion, approximately 40, are school-aged children. There is neither a permanent school nor permanent teachers for them, which significantly complicates the possibility of receiving an education. Twice a week, a teacher comes from the mainland to conduct classes in one of the bars, temporarily turned into an improvised classroom. Most adult residents remain illiterate. Only 1 in 5 can read and write at a basic level, which in turn affects their quality of life and opportunities for self-realization. Additionally, many teenagers, upon reaching the age of 12 or 13, drop out of school to help their parents with fishing, understanding that without this, their family livelihood might suffer. Transportation to the mainland is carried out on old wooden boats, which the locals call water taxis. These boats make about 10 trips daily, heading to the nearest port city of Kine. The journey takes between 1.5 to 3 hours, depending on weather conditions. During the rainy season, service is often interrupted for several days due to strong waves and bad weather, further complicating life for the islanders. The fare is about $2 one way, which is a significant amount for the locals, whose incomes are usually low. As for the crime situation on the island, it remains relatively calm. Despite the absence of official law enforcement, all conflicts and violations are resolved with the help of the Council of Elders, which meets once a week. Mostly, the island records cases of drunken brawls and petty thefts. Punishments for such offenses usually involve fines in the form of several kilograms of fish, or a temporary ban on visiting local bars. In the past 3 years, no serious crimes have been recorded on the island, indicating high internal discipline and trust in traditional conflict resolution methods. The religious life of Migingo's population is marked by remarkable tolerance and harmony. Representatives of 2 major religions coexist peacefully on the island. Most young people who grew up on this remote island cannot imagine a future other than fishing, as the only and primary activity capable of sustaining their existence. For them, it is not just a job but a whole life connected to the sea and all its whims. Anyone who wants to change their fate and try to build something different faces serious difficulties, because very few can save enough money to move to the mainland and start a new life in cities or larger settlements. Nevertheless, the island continues to attract new migrants, mainly from poor areas of Kenya and Uganda. These people are willing to endure harsh and often difficult conditions just to get a chance to earn from fishing, hoping for a better future. The economy of this small island is entirely dependent on fish, which is its main resource and source of sustenance. All the locals have are fishing boats and the fish they catch daily. Their entire food security depends on the catches and supplies from the mainland. The main delicacy that forms the basis of their diet is Nile perch, a fish prepared in dozens of different ways. It is fried, smoked, dried, and even fermented, creating a variety of dishes familiar to the entire population. Vegetables and grains are delivered to the island twice a week on the same boats that bring drinking water. indicating the close interdependence of all supplies. In the dry months, when catches are significantly reduced, situations of malnutrition often arise on the island, especially among the most vulnerable children and the elderly. The average family spends about 70% of their income on food, indicating a high degree of food dependency and limited resources. Water supply on the island remains one of the most pressing and urgent issues. Besides the limited amount of drinking water brought in large plastic tanks, residents are forced to purchase fresh water for household needs at a rather high price, about $5 for 200 liters. This is a significant expense for poor families. Wealthier residents sometimes install primitive rainwater collection systems to somehow provide themselves with water, but during droughts, such systems prove useless. Many continue to use lake water for washing and cleaning, despite the obvious risks of contracting various diseases, as there are practically no alternatives. The sanitation situation on the island is of serious concern. The lack of sewage and waste disposal systems contributes to constant outbreaks of intestinal infections, which have become a real scourge for the local population. Medical workers note that every third resident of Migingo suffers from diseases related to unsanitary conditions and poor living environments. The situation becomes especially dire during the rainy season, when fecal matter and garbage mix with rainwater, flooding homes and streets. Over the past year, 3 cases of cholera have been recorded on the island, a dangerous and highly contagious disease that can spread quickly and take human lives. Migingo's economic model shows remarkable resilience despite all the difficulties. The average monthly income of each family is about $350, which significantly exceeds the incomes in neighboring coastal villages, where the standard of living is much lower. This is explained by the high price of Nile perch on international markets, which makes fishing the main source of income for most residents. However, such an economy is very vulnerable. Any crisis in the fishing industry, whether it be reduced catches, climate change, or fishing bans, instantly affects the well-being of all residents. There is nothing sustainable except their dependence on fish and international markets. Cultural life on the island is centered around a few small bars, where almost the entire adult population gathers in the evenings. These places serve as communication hubs, where news is discussed, deals are made, and disputes and conflicts are resolved. On weekends, they often host impromptu concerts with local music and folk dances, bringing the whole community together. For children, the only